So DemCast, I'm Nick Knutson, Executive Director at DemCast. We're a 501c4 nonprofit dedicated to lifting the voices of the grassroots in digital spaces, winning the information war against the extreme right. And I'm joined by Jamie and Lori. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves real quick?
Sure. I'm Lori Coleman, Director of Strategy. I'm joining from the very extremely hot and red state of Tennessee. It was over 100 to get today. God. Yeah, it was quite exhilarating. And I'm glad to be here. Jamie.
Hi, I'm Jamie. I'm from the lovely state of Utah, where we have not given up unseating Mike Lee yet. So latest poll shows McMullen within one. Sorry, that's just my little woohoo.
So DemCast, I'm Nick Knutson.
So latest poll shows.
It's an underrated opportunity, and Evan McMullen wouldn't be a pocket Democrat, but he is pro-democracy, and so if it came down to voting the right way to save our democracy, I have very, very strong confidence that Evan McMullen would vote with Democrats to do whatever needed to be done. So, and the fact that Mike Lee is so extremely hated in Utah kind of creates an interesting little opportunity there. So
it is, and McMullen came out and said that he would vote to codify Roe v. Wade because he doesn't think telling women what to do with their bodies is the way to solve abortion. He said that he would instead do things to promote things like better health care and universal pre-K, actually kind of some progressive stuff, because he thinks that would bring abortion rates down on their own without the government telling a woman what to do with her body. So who knew? So
but we are not here to just talk about Evan McMullen. We wanted to bring everybody together to talk about the road ahead. It's been a pretty crazy few weeks in American life. Mass shooting tragedies, obviously the Roe decision, the clear indication that SCOTUS is in a slash and burn mentality about democracy and wants to take us back many decades, if not centuries. Christo-fascism is on the rise, and despite the fact that they are an extreme minority in the country, they're currently winning, and that's really upsetting to all of us on this call, I'm sure. I think Jamie and Lori and I, after these few weeks, and the team at DemCast, we've really just decided that, okay, well, here we go. I mean, these 2022 midterms are extremely consequential, and there's going to be more from January 6th, and we will talk about that. And there's going to be probably some more terrible things that the GOP does, and there will be more mass shootings, because that's our reality now. But we really need to be heads down and ultra focused on the solution as much as possible. And the solution is winning in 2022. Yeah. We need to get a few more Senate seats. We need to keep the House so that we can have a large enough majority to abolish the filibuster and do the things that need to be done, expanding the court being one of those things. So the good news is that the people are on our side. The people don't want the extreme majority. Remember to mute, folks. People don't want the extreme views and reality being put forward by the right to be the norm in American society, and we need to make the case. And I think the whole premise of DemCast and others and other groups that are out there is that as much as we would love to be able to rely on the Democratic Party or President Biden or somebody coming in and quarterbacking this in terms of pushing out really solid messaging, that's just not how it's going to happen. So, you know, I think we need to band together, lift up the most important candidates this cycle, try and push a message of solidarity among Americans, and highlight the extreme nature of the beliefs and viewpoints of the GOP MAGA Republicans at every turn, and define them, and also paint a vision for what kind of world we want to create if we want to produce, if we're able to get the electoral gains that we want this year. The good news is, and maybe some of you were able to make our Twitter spaces that we had last week, was really delighted that Gerald Griggs, who's the president of the Georgia NAACP, came on toward the end and really, I think, laid out the motivational 3-minute spiel of how we need to talk to fellow Democrats and progressives and centrists about how and why we need to be as motivated as possible during the 2022 cycle. And so we're looking to clip that audio and roll it out to folks. But basically, you know, democracy has never been easy, and even though it may not feel like it, the country has been in even more dire straits than we're in now. And it was people coming together from different races, religions, geographies, and walks of life, and standing behind democratic principles, and you know, and that helped us get to where we've gotten to. And there's always some backsliding. This is an extreme backslide, but that doesn't mean that we can't overcome it if we work together. And that's just what we've got to do. So we wanted to just reflect that at the beginning of the session here, where we are feeling hopeful in spite of all of this, because people are pissed, and anger is a huge motivator. And so we need to help harness that anger and direct it toward action here in the last 130 days before the election. So so we wanted to just say that, and then take a little bit of time to walk through, reorient people to our Mobilize for Midterms program. And we've got some new web pages up that we wanted to show you that has some information about critical races and candidates this cycle, and then just have a conversation, open it up to folks. So how about let's go into the midterms stuff, and then we can just have more of a conversation. So Jamie, do you want to give folks just an update about where we are in the primaries, and how many races we're looking at and are highlighting, and then I can share my screen and show the webpage.
Yeah. So, we've kind of got the three main categories: Senate, keep the House, protect democracy. Protect democracy is kind of an all-encompassing state focus on governors, secretary of states, attorney generals, the ones that really can protect our rights in the states, especially with SCOTUS right now. And so we have kind of gone through and picked the most critical races. These are all toss-ups or very slightly lean Democrat or Republican. And these are the races that are going to determine, especially on keeping the House, a lot of these candidates, nobody's probably ever heard of. And those are the ones that we need to really be supporting. Katie Porter is, a lean and a likely D. She probably doesn't need as much help as someone named Dan Kildee. Let's just toss up across the board. So we will be updating the rankings frequently. So this will kind of change over the next little bit as things shift and, as new polling comes out. So we'll constantly kind of keep this updated. Do you want to kind of show the?
Yeah. I'll share my screen here. I can find the right window and tab. I'll just open it. You guys get to see my zillion tabs. All right. I opened a new window for you. So this is our DemCast.com website. We have a menu item here. When you're on your cell phone, it appears as like 3 bars in the corner. And so if you click on that and go to Mobilize for Midterms, this Mobilize for Midterms is basically just like this page is an overview, mostly for people who don't know about this project or what we're doing, that leads to a sign up page, but also we've now added lists of candidates to each of these categories. So you can either find them by going to this page and clicking on the candidates under each of our 3 categories: protect democracy, keep the House, and expand the Senate. Or you can go to it from the menu itself. So if you're really focused on say keeping the House, and that's where you want to devote your time and energy, we have a list of great candidates here. We've really focused, as Jamie was kind of indicating, we've really narrowly focused on more like toss-up races. We're a lot of it is seats that we're trying to protect, but there are a number here that we're also trying to flip. But because of redistricting, some of the most competitive districts are maybe incumbents who you may have never heard of, or because they've always been in safe blue districts. So unless you're in the state, you haven't really had a need to hear about these folks, or they're newly formed districts that are highly competitive, and maybe there's a new candidate who's vying for them. So you'll see some names that if you've been doing election activism over the last few cycles, 2018 and 2020, you'll recognize, like Christy Smith, like Cindy Axney, Sharice Davids.
I'm gonna say, and those top 4, they're all pickup opportunities.
Right.
So
yeah, these are all flip opportunities.
Yeah. Well, Colorado's a new district that we can pick up. So
yep. Right. So, but there's I looked at this list when Jamie put it together, and I was like, oh boy, because I pay really close attention to this stuff, and there's a lot of people on here who I am very not familiar with. So Um, what we've done here just for this page so far, and we'll probably add more to these sort of candidate squares over time, but we've got their Facebook, their Twitter, their Instagram, and then a link to their website direct from the site. And our first ask of everybody is to go in. So there's different ways that we can help amplify candidates. We can obviously like share native posts about them, and that's a really important thing to do. And so we will be building our social media toolkits that'll be regularly updated with new content about these candidates, these races, and we will ask folks to share from those. But another really important thing that we can do as a group and collectively that there really aren't other groups focused on doing is go to their Twitter page or their Facebook page and just interact with their content so that they get seen by more people. You know, like their stuff, leave a comment. If you're on Twitter, do a quote tweet. All of those interactions lead the social media algorithms to show that content to additional people, to more people. And a lot of these folks, either because they're new or because they aren't dynamos on social media, they have very small presences on
there
social.
are several that, I mean, we're talking a couple of thousand followers and that's it.
Yeah. And so these are what we're trying to do here is say, like, here are the races where the balance of the House is likely to be decided. It's not going to be, I know people love to amplify Marcus Flowers, who's running against Marjorie Taylor Greene. He's a great guy and all that. Not saying don't do that, but when it comes down to it, it's going to be Jay Chen and Eric Sorensen and Alyssa Slotkin and Dina Titus, who are going to decide whether or not we keep the House. And so just staying focused, you know, using your presence on social media to help amplify people is the primary thing that we as DemCast are asking you to do. That we're not saying don't amplify other people. We're not saying you can't talk about other people on your social profiles, but these people need disproportionate help in the current environment. So I mean, yeah, like I said, I have a lot of work. I haven't even followed all these people yet, just because you know, the primaries are just, you know, scraping along here. So we're just getting around to really solidifying this list. So clearly there's a lot of work to do.
Yeah, can I pop up a comment from Renee as well?
Yeah, please do.
Put someone on the spot, but she really, you know, really nailed it. The general public is not paying attention, and you know, we have got to stop eating our own. Because Dems like to do that. We need to focus. So I just wanted to bump that up. And that's not saying that we can't call out people. But I've certainly seen this a lot lately, that, you know, a lot of Democratic infighting.
Yeah, no, it's a really great point. And here's the deal, y'all. Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, an unfortunate circumstance, whatever you want to call it, there's one reality. There is one political party that's fascist, and there's another political party that's not. And the Democrats are not. And the Democratic Party has to be, the Democratic brand has to be as good a brand as possible heading into 22 and 24. Because people vote based on the D or the R a lot of the time. Just regular people out there. They aren't paying as close attention. And so you can be not in love with specific Democrats or the party as a whole, and I share many of those feelings. In social spaces, and everybody please remember to mute if you're if you can. In social spaces, you know, this is not a this isn't a public square anymore. It's a battlefield, and we have to think about it like that. And it's kind of like, if you can't say anything nice, then just bash the Republicans. if that's what you can muster, then that's very useful, and go for it. But it's just kind of how it is. We need the Democratic brand to be really strong going into 22 and 24. So this is our Protect Democracy page of governors, secretaries of state, and attorneys general who are up for re-election. These are really important states where the state legislatures in these states could have the opportunity, if there are not safeguards in the state government, to overturn the 2024 presidential election for Trump or DeSantis or whatever fascists they decide to nominate. So these are really, really important races. Even if you're not in these states, they're very important. So you know, you'll hear a lot about, obviously, Stacey Abrams and Josh Shapiro running for governor in Pennsylvania and Georgia, Gretchen Whitmer. So there's some names on here that you'll recognize, but there's also some names on here that you might not, where we have a fighting chance or some strong odds of winning some of these races. And if you think about a state like Wisconsin, which has been so determinative in presidential elections for the last number of years, and we're fairly confident that the Wisconsin state legislature would probably gleefully you know, overturn the will of the people and send an alternate slate of electors to the House if they had the opportunity to do that. You know, Tony Evers and Doug LaFollette are really important candidates this cycle. So you know, get familiar with these folks if you can. We've tried to link to all of their stuff. Not everybody has, like Tom Miller doesn't have a Instagram, but to the extent that we were able to find people's information, websites, social media profiles, we have included them here. So again, just like use this as a resource, go through, amplify people, interact with their content, and like I said, we'll have toolkits that'll help you share native content as well. And then the last category is the Senate. I mean, this is really, yeah, I was going to say the most important, but is it really? I don't know. I mean, they're all really, really important. But as far as at least being able to continue, you know, nominating and confirming judges, you know, that's something that we really need to be able to do for the last 2 years of the Biden White House. Even if we lose the House, we're still able to do that. So this is really, really crucial. Yeah, Raphael Warnock is a fundraising powerhouse. He's an awesome candidate. He's up by quite a few points. It's a really, 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 really important seat. It might, even though he's like super dynamic, it might not be the race that needs the most help right now. And so what we'll try to do through Mobilize for Midterms is offer advice about, like, okay, well, right now we're looking at social media presence, we're looking at fundraising, we're looking at poll numbers, all that kind of stuff. Like, here's really the order of importance in terms of like who you might want to spend a little bit more time amplifying and pushing and donating to. And right now, For me, that person is probably Catherine Cortez Masto, who does not have a great social media presence. Nevada is going to be a really tough state this year for a variety of reasons. And so, you know, so we'll try and offer that advice on a regular basis as things change, as dynamics change in races. You know, maybe the GOP candidate in a certain state says something especially egregious and falls behind. We'll try and track all that and offer that intel to everybody so that you can have the best advice about where to focus your limited attention. So those are our pages. They're at demcast.com/midterms. Like I said, they're in the menu, and yeah, that's about it. Jamie, Lori, did you have anything to add?
I've just been kind of keeping up with the comments when we were talking about infighting. First of all, we're not saying we should not be advocating for change that we want, like, you know, expanding the court or eliminating the filibuster. That's not what we're saying. We're saying, you know, don't be attacking other Dems. There's a difference between a full-out attack and calling somebody out for their actions or advocating for actions. There's a big difference. But you're seeing a lot on social media, Dems just going at each other right now. I mean, it was so bad the other night, I literally shut off social media for 3 days because of the infighting in my own feed. I muted, I was like, okay, I'm done with it. You guys can all shut up. So.
Well, and it's perfectly understandable. I mean, it's been an extremely frustrating year and a half. We won those 2 Senate seats in Georgia on the backs of Black women and amazing organizing in that state. And we thought, boom, here we go, we got it. But the fact is, we didn't have it. We had 48 Democrats, and we had Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema, and they have different agendas, and it just didn't turn out the way that we all wanted it to. And you could, you know, the one criticism that I might have, well, not the one criticism, but a major criticism I might have of Democrats is that they did a kind of a poor job of managing expectations of the activist base about what we might be able to get done this cycle. It seemed at the beginning like we might be able to do a lot more than we have been able to do. On the flip side, you know, I also understand, I think back to like the ACA battle and the fact that the Obama administration came out and immediately ruled out the public option, which limited their ability to negotiate for something bigger. And, you know, there's all kinds of games that are being played. And the Democrats were trying to create public pressure on all of their caucus, including Manchin and Sinema, to trying to get them to a point where they would do the things that needed to be done, and it just didn't work.
But you know, to that point,
because those 2 people are assholes.
It's true, but to that point, you know, when Biden was elected in 2020, he did not approve of changing the filibuster. We had people like Coons who did not want to change the filibuster, Feinstein, Durbin, the list goes on and on. We moved all of those people. So, yeah, you know, and you're seeing that with even court expansion now. 2 years ago, court expansion was on nobody's mind. And now you're seeing that needle move. And so the right type of pressure does move the needle, you know, and
part of that is talking about it. I think it is important to talk about court expansion at this point because we have to move that Overton window and get that idea out because we actually have to do that now. You know, we really do, and we have to do it like between 2022 and 2024.
You know, and you know, and the Republicans put out things that aren't popular. You know, when they throw out that crazy shit that's not popular with anybody, you know, they normalize it. We can do that with the things that we care about. You know, change does not happen in one election cycle. It's frustrating, but it doesn't. You know, Rosa Parks sat on that bus and then she didn't say, okay, well, nothing changed. I guess I'm done now. I sat on the bus and it didn't happen. You know, they kept moving forward. That's our job now. And you know, if you want to get the real lay of the land, go on TikTok and listen to Black women. So
Well, people in
True.
Montgomery, all the Black folks who decided they weren't going to ride a bus anymore, they walked to work miles a day, every day for 2 years before there was change and desegregation. So, I mean, we are the fruits of all of these, you know, civil leaders who just kept going and never gave up. And even when it looked hopeless, you know, just keep on making good trouble, because that's what we do. I wanted to mention that when you go and you follow the candidates, if you pick a few of them to maybe adopt, if you're on Twitter, you can set a notification so that when they tweet, you would get a little notification that they had posted something. And that's a really easy way to go in and support whatever that they're posting, like make a comment on it and, you know, like it and share it. But good comments really do help kind of raise it up in the algorithm as well. And all you do to get notified is there's a little, once you follow them, there's a little bell that activates, and you can click that and follow them. And usually candidates don't like tweet every hour, so they're not going to drive you crazy with notifications, versus somebody like, you know, me or Jamie or Nick. Don't do that for us.
I've actually been quiet the last 3 days.
I'm surprised that you weren't suspected of being dead.
No, actually, I haven't been on Twitter. It's a possibility. But
It's good. We all need a break every once in a while.
If anybody knows me, I have a slight problem with spreadsheets. I need to get help after the election. But if anyone wants to know what candidates is running for any race, here's the Google sheet. Yes, it has all their social media handles too. So,
Yeah, look, Jamie is a spreadsheet nut. So
I am.
we will help her after the election. But for right now, it's really
I have a
useful.
Google Sheets nut.
Yeah.
So
So
Sheets nut. So there you go.
yeah.
Nice.
I think I actually, did I send the right one? Yeah, I did. Okay. Yeah, I update these as soon as the primaries happen. I usually stay up late and get as many races updated as I can. And I believe there's 13 states having primaries in August. So.
And like we say, like I think it's on our Twitter profile for the DemCast USA account. We obsess about this shit, so you don't have to. So, that's part of why we're here, is to help point you in the right direction in terms of strategy and where to focus your attention. Okay. So we've got some time. Do we want to? Is there more from the chat? I wasn't monitoring for a while, but
yeah, can I say something? Hey,
yeah.
Can I say something? I'm in suburban New Orleans. I am in the same suburban area that Amy Coney Barrett comes from. I'm not proud about that at all, but I'd like to say that I really think that there's such a need to point out that where we are now is so full of moral rot, R-O-T. Amy personifies that. The GOP, their dynamic is to destroy and to cause death. Gavin Newsom did an outstanding ad just the other day in Florida, talking about the GOP taking away freedoms and rights. I thought it was superb. There is so much incredible bullshit that's going on. And there is so much fodder, so much creative, so much basis for a lot of creativity to dramatize the moral rot that's causing destruction and death, whether or not it's our freedom over our bodies, our freedom, all kind of freedoms. You know, the Catholic Church has totally been discredited as any kind of a moral compass. And Amy Barrett is a good example of that. The Catholic Church in New Orleans is going bankrupt, declared bankruptcy rather than pay anybody. I mean, I don't mean to focus on her so much as an example of this death and destruction and deceit that is in the driver's seat. And the only person who has even come near to describing that and putting that in the driver's seat is the governor of California. And I really applaud him. And I wish, to me, it's like he's threw out the football and somebody needs to catch it and go run for a touchdown. Because, I mean, that's what's going on, is the GOP is the demolition derby out there to destroy everything. And that needs, you know, I just think that's such great fodder to do some extraordinary commercials to dramatize the destruction and deceit and death that is the GOP. Thank you.
No, thank you, Judy. It's a great point. I mean, there's no end to how terrible they are, and we should talk about it and find the most effective messengers and amplify them as much as possible. It's absolutely true.
All right.
I think Linda was next.
Hi, I've got a call out for help for North Carolina. We haven't been as nut job as some other southern and red states, but boy, there's a big drive on it this year. They're coming at us with big out-of-state money, and we have two that I wanted to mention. One is our Supreme Court race. I did not realize how close and how bad it is, because you know one of the cases from here is probably going to be on the Supreme Court next fall, and that right now it's 4 Democrats to 3 Republicans. 2 seats are open, and right now the 2 Republicans are in the lead over the 2 Democrats, and we really have to save at least one of those to not fully go the way of other states, which I would really hate to see for North Carolina. And then the other one was already mentioned, and that's Sherry Beasley. I don't think she's getting the big push from the DNC and others, and yet she's hanging on well. She's running against a nut job Republican. In fact, he owns a gun store. And so, you know, not only do we need that seat at the federal level, my God, we need that seat and have her representation for North Carolina as well. So I'd appreciate some help for our candidates. Thanks.
And Linda, we do have Sherry Beasley as one of our Senate candidates. So you'll be seeing some content coming out around that. And if you want to get with me later offline, we can talk about a toolkit for your Supreme Court, for your state Supreme Court justices.
They're listed on that spreadsheet as well, Lori. So all of their information is already there.
Of course it is.
Of course it is.
Okay, Kylie?
Thank you. Just really quick. The Into Action Lab is also hosting a webinar again this month, and they're going to start happening a lot more frequently. We're staffing up the organizing team over there really quickly to really staff these midterms properly. So we're super excited about that, but we actually are having a meme usage specific info session on the 26th of this month. I'm going to drop a link to register and let me know if there's any issues with that. Really excited about this one. We're really going to delve into the meme work that we've been doing, where we've been testing some of this some of what we've been talking about here, right, is really branding the Republicans for what they are. And memes are a really creative and really effective momentum builder online. So if you're interested in learning how to, incorporate those into your own organization's digital strategy, or just as a person online, we're here to help kind of guide you through that, and we're making the stuff to help you do that. You don't have to come up with this stuff from scratch. We have a team of expert meme makers. That's a thing, and they're great. So would totally encourage you to sign up, and then I will also just drop our general link to our library. Just here, our GIFs and our memes live here. And I can also drop my my email, and I'm always available for questions or feedback or anything. So thanks to the DemCast team as always.
Awesome. I just signed up for that, Kylie.
Yay.
So looking forward to that. Dogs are excited about it too. So
It's the most exciting.
That's great. And Kylie, we've used some of your memes in some of our toolkits, and we'll continue to do so. Love to see those. They're really great.
Guys, and so much of our use comes from just the groundswell of digital support that y'all are able to really create. So thank you so much.
no, I mean we have such complementary organizations. it's kind of crazy. You're one of our most important partners for sure. So
and right back at y'all, and we always know that when we send something your way, it is going to get use and pick up, and we're so thankful for like the shared sort of like symbiosis. You guys are like the enemy, we're the clownfish, or vice versa maybe. Anyways, thank you so much.
Totally.
Y'all. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Kylie. Renee.
Hi, everyone. Sorry that I got my picture up. I'm busy with my triplets here, so won't see me running around. Thanks for the meeting. I'm really glad I tuned in today, because some of the things that you were saying is exactly what I believe we are missing as Democrats, is that, first of all, the Republicans have no message, and they can care less about what anybody thinks, because they know their people are going to turn out regardless if they say the moon is purple and the sky is orange. They're still going to go out and vote for them. My concern is that we turn off our Democrats, or people who are not Democrats but leaning this way, or even some of the moderate Republicans who have just had enough from coming out and to vote for us. And how I say we turn them off is because we keep chewing each other up. We're actually giving them talking points when we start to tear each other up online. And criticism, there is nothing wrong with positive criticism. I agree that there's some things that the Biden administration did. They took some missteps. I was the first to say I didn't like how they handled the Afghanistan evacuation. However, I didn't go up there and tear President Biden down and say he's this and he's that or whatever. There's a way to criticize without tearing people and chewing your own people up. So my concern is that we do better with messaging. And that's what's lost. I don't think we're doing a coordinated campaign where we come out with just a simple message. The Republicans are not smart. They're just lucky. They just have a good base. They're not smart. They're not trying to do anything smart. They just say whatever the opposite is of what we say. So we have to hone our message. I mean, we got three things right now that are going for us, and that's probably why we're going to win 2022. And I'm pretty sure we're going to. And those things are the J6 hearings, the gun safety issue, because there's going to be another mass killing before November. And I'm sorry to say that, but that's the case. I said that after Uvalde, and look what happened on July 4th. So that is a talking point that we need to fix. And then also Roe v. Wade. I mean, there was a lot of women that never thought that this was going to be turned back because they worked so hard, and who gets rights taken from them, right? So we got great talking points. We just need to hone it. We need to work together and work together across the country with a simple message. We get too complicated. This is not a dissertation. This is about getting people out here to save our planet, save us, and save our children. So that's all I have to say. And thank you for this meeting. I really am looking forward to looking at that list spreadsheet that you compile. Thanks.
Thanks, Renee.
Thank you,
So I
Renee.
said, and Renee, for the first time, I mean, and we're a fairly new organization, with 2.5 years old, but in the last few months, especially around January 6th, even talking to the DNC, for the first time, groups are finally getting the messaging thing. And so that has been very exciting to me, to see groups actually working together on messaging, cohesive. You know, if you've seen any of the January 6th messaging, that is because we've actually all been working together. And so I think this is a lesson for especially a lot of these big organizations, that top down is not what we need. We need grassroots up. Gloria?
Yeah. And just a real quick before Gloria jumps in, Renee, I appreciate your comments. And I think it's really important. It's important to recognize that messages travel because regular people share them. And it's, you know, the reason that the right-wing media ecosystem works so well is because they have messaging that comes from the top, and they have, like you're saying, maybe not the brightest bulbs, but just people who will go out there and parrot, and who are being trained to go out there and parrot what those messages are on social media. And the solution on everybody on the left seems to be waiting for like the higher ups or the leaders to share that message that will then filter down in the same way. But we have a completely different ecosystem. And what we need to do is we need to come together as regular folks and just start sharing the messages ourselves. Start, you know, not take every opportunity to get into a circular firing squad on social media, and understand that we have a role in the process. And so I really appreciate that everybody's on this call, and folks like Kylie and all of you understand how important it is that, like, yeah, there can be a meme, but if nobody shares the meme, then it's just sitting there, even if it's really effective. So
Can I say one more thing? Can I
sure,
say
really
one
quick.
more
Yep.
thing?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
So the other side has a lot of money. Let's remember that. And they are extremely disciplined. They have a leader, they're a bunch of sheep, and you know, the message gets out and they all follow it. Doesn't matter if it's truth, none of that. But the message needs to be the same. But I can also say that we also should agree that optics matter. And if I can be raw for just a minute, I think we need right now an optic that's comparable to Willie Horton. We need to show what is a dead child's body. We need to show a dead child in Uvalde represents the death and destruction and deceit and uncaringness of the other side. And I think if we had an optic, do you see what I'm saying? Like Willie Horton, I think the message would be just very, very powerful. And we have all of that. That's my point, is we have all of that. And I don't know why we're not being smarter, because I know a lot.
Well,
yeah, the other side may be dumb and a bunch of sheep, but you know, hey, what? We've got a lot of assets over here that we need to tap into.
and I see where you're headed here. And I think our take here at DemCast is we can't wait for some power broker communication expert to come in and save it. Like, if we're going to do all that stuff and be smart about messaging, then we need to do it ourselves. So Let's do
Sure.
that.
And there's a pretty quick formula that if you want to be thinking about as you're doing your messaging, is your values, our shared values. And I think Renee about how we can sort of antagonize the independents or even the moderate Republicans who might vote for our side. But we have shared values with those people. We all believe that everybody's vote should count and that everybody should have an equal opportunity to vote. But who doesn't want us to? The MAGA Republicans who only want to hold on to power. And if Democrats are elected, here's what the vision is. So if you think about values, villains, and vision, those three things can help you sort of craft your messaging so that you're not alienating other people, but you're telling them, hey, these are the bad guys over here, but stick with Democrats and we'll get you here. And that can really help you when you're crafting your message.
Well, the penultimate optic of that is loving a child. A child is life. And all of our, the Declaration of Independence, whatever, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. How can you have that with a dead child?
Yeah, no, I point taken, Judy. I think we can't be shy about
Right. That's exactly what I'm saying.
about showing people the truth, and the truth is devastating to people in a variety of ways, whether it's a dead child or a starving family, or a woman who has to make a choice but can't. Right.
Right.
So
Exactly.
So, we only have 6 minutes left, and I know that there's kind of a hard stop. So I just want to kind of make sure that our last three have a chance to comment. And I so appreciate what you had to say, Judy. So Gloria, do you want to go?
Yes. I guess Beto O'Rourke, his numbers aren't good enough for us to consider him as viable, maybe, or he's in Texas and Abbott, who knows what. Just asking about Beto O'Rourke as governor.
It's not that he's not viable. We're really trying to focus on that real toss-up, very slight. Things can change. Texas, I mean, that race went from solid R a month ago to likely R now. So it's a rate, we're keeping a very close eye on it. And if there's an opportunity, we're gonna pounce.
Thank you.
yeah, I think we're really just trying to provide advice, but it's not like we're saying don't amplify Beto O'Rourke. Beto O'Rourke is an excellent messenger for our movement. So by all means, go out there and amplify Beto, and we're just trying to provide some guidance about where the data are showing, the most on the bubble races are. So we're big Beto fans. Arlene?
Yeah, so I'm the leader of the Upper West Side Action Group. So what I wanted to ask about is evidently money from the infrastructure bill that went to the states is being held back by many of the state legislatures, and the same thing with the American Rescue Plan. So I think it is really a very good talking point if we could identify specific states and specific districts where this is the case and link it to a project that would be funded, and that the Republicans are holding it back. I mean, that we need that research, which I don't think is that difficult to do, and to share that. We're working on Pennsylvania because we're canvassing there, and that would be extremely useful to be talking to people about and put into, visual images and, talking points. So is anybody here interested to do some of that work?
I know that there is a tracker of the Republicans who voted no, who are now touting it back in their districts.
But this is a different question. This is
Yeah, but
bad,
I haven't
The
heard of
money's being
anybody
held back.
withholding money.
but that's often, that's happening a lot.
Right. Yeah, it's happening in the States. Yeah, it's a great point, Arlene. And maybe we could connect on you can email us at admin@demcastusa.com. Because I think I see what you're saying, and I have seen bits and pieces and spotty sort of social posts about that kind of thing, but it is a really important because it draws a distinction between what the parties are trying to do. The Democrats are trying to help you, and the Republicans are trying to screw you. And here's how they're doing it.
We have to be specific and honest about it.
Yeah, specific and local. Yeah, very local is
Yes,
very
local,
important,
specific,
particularly.
and honest.
Yeah, thank you. Great suggestion. Deepti?
Oh, yeah. So this is just a blanket offer of cartooning help if anyone wants it, or graphics or writing. I put my email into the chat. But yeah, I've already signed up for the meme thing that somebody put up, and I'll submit to anything that's already up there, but I can't find enough to do and I want to volunteer.
You have no idea what you just did, but I'll email you tomorrow.
Yeah, you came to the right conversation. We'll help you out. We'll help you put those skills to use. Thank you so much for offering.
Absolutely. That's exciting.
Yeah, visuals in particular are so important in messaging, and especially on social media. So yeah, that's great. Well, we are right at time. I think we've gotten to everybody.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Did we?
one more
You?
thing. Next January 6th hearing has
Yeah.
been announced, July 12th at 10 Eastern. Sorry for everybody,
Yeah.
Mountain and West Coast. We've been using this toolkit, which will be updated in real time again on that day. But in the meantime, all kinds of videos are left from that. So
What'd you say, Arlene?
10 a.m.
10 a.m. Eastern, which is for those of us out here on the West Coast, that's 7 a.m. Pacific. But it'll be worth it, I'm sure. It would be awesome if they did one Eastern like they've been doing, but you know, it is what it is. But yeah, like Jamie said, we'll have a live toolkit ready to do all kinds of damage on social media, and we'll share that out on the day before and the day of and the day after. And thank you everybody for coming tonight. This was a great conversation. We can win this. We just have to work together. So let's go out and do it together. So thanks everybody.
Thank you.
126 days, let's do it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well done.
Bye.